And I'm excited to be joined by the three-time ICC One Day International World Cup winner and the IPL champion in 2009. We can't forget that for the Deccan Chargers. Adam Gilchrist, thanks to you for your time.
Hello, mate. Nice to see you, and thanks for the intro. Yeah, and the Deccan Chargers one, that was... it often gets forgotten about in a lot of the intros, but that was so special, and as greater achievement that I reckon I had in my cricketing career, because it's such a diverse competition and it was wonderful to be a part of.
What happened? Because 2008, you guys were
Dead last.
the pick. You were like going to be the champions, dead last, and then you turn it around within 1 year to be champions.
Yeah, what did happen? Well, just to be serious about it for a minute, we just didn't bind together well enough. We didn't pay enough attention to getting to know each other cultures, learn a bit about each other before we can really forge a strong bond as a teammate and a collective unit. And we addressed that before the next season. And, you know, without a huge change in personnel, we were able to really bind together nicely. And, yeah, it was a great journey.
And you were there at the start of the T20 career. We're excited here in Dubai because it's the second season of the IL T20.
Yep.
How hard is it now to try and schedule T20 games and this franchise tournament in and around trying to protect Test cricket?
Yeah, very challenging for the administrators. It's just not enough days or weeks or months anymore for the cricket schedule without something being compromised. And unfortunately, it seems like Test cricket at the moment is the one that's a little bit in danger. But look, I've got a bit of faith that Test cricket withstood the revolution of one-day cricket back in the 70s. Everyone thought that is the end of Test cricket, it's going to struggle. But it survived, it found a way. And I think there is space by way of consumption of what the cricket community like. I think there's enough people that still love Test cricket and want it to survive. And then the two white ball formats, but just don't have too much of any of it. Try to pull back a bit on most of it. There isn't a surplus of Test cricket around at the moment. There's probably need to try and find space for more, but we'll see. Look, commercial factors at play clearly, but we'll just T20 cricket. The way I'm looking at it, is still reasonably in its infancy compared to Test cricket and the history of that. So it might take another 10 years before it really beds down and settle, and the landscape gets a bit more of a regular routine about it.
A couple of weeks away from the men's ICC One Day International World Cup being played in India. Yeah. We were on commentary on Talk 100.3 with the Asia Cup, and we saw some amazing performances from Sri Lanka. Willa Lage was a great spin bowler, but the final wasn't. Was a bit underwhelming to see Sri Lanka bowled out for 50. Leading into the One Day World Cup, who do you see as maybe being your final four to reach the semis?
Yeah, I like that. I've been asked too often who's going to win it, and I've got no idea. And that's the beauty of this tournament. How exciting! We all go into it genuinely not knowing who's going to win, and that makes any time you go to any sporting contest, if you don't know the outcome, it makes it all the more exciting and a better journey to be on. So I pretty obvious ones, I suppose, when you think about the strengths, stronger teams around. But I think England, their white ball dominance for a few years now has been exceptional. So I expect them to be there. Australia, India and Pakistan, that's what I see. South Africa, I think, could possibly upset a few and maybe find a way to get into a fourth position, but we'll have to wait and see what the conditions are like, what each, so many games across such a vast country, some wickets will spin more than others and some may not be. Some might just have a little bit of offering there for the seam bowlers, but no, with no certainty do I say that top four will be there, and with less certainty do I know who's going to win it.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time playing in India. Obviously, you with Ricky Ponting being injured, you captained Australia to the first Test series win in quite a few years. To players that aren't used to the Indian conditions, what advice do you have for them in terms of not just the pitch, but handling the crowd and the atmosphere and the environment that's going to come along with playing a World Cup in India?
Yeah, I don't think there's too many players that will be attending this World Cup. Certainly across the top 6 nations, the contenders that haven't spent a bit of time in India, and so I don't think anyone's coming in completely blind and into uncharted waters. There might be a couple of players here or there, but look, embrace it. It's probably the best bit of advice I could say is get out there and enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the intensity, enjoy the celebration of cricket that is on and off the field. Because if you try to fight it or resist it, you use up a lot of energy in doing that. So you got to go with the flow. Don't feel like it's. Try to maintain a middle range. Don't get too low when it's not so good for you, when your results are going, below where they wanted them, and don't get carried away when it's going well, because there's a reality somewhere in the middle there, and as long as you can swim on that plane, the better chance you are.
Yeah, you're here in Dubai. Here we are with the University of Wollongong and the 30th anniversary. What are your memories of playing cricket? Did you play much cricket in Dubai? Did you ever have an opportunity to play here against Pakistan?
Played Pakistan, but not in Dubai, but in the UAE, in Sharjah.
Okay.
And the stadium here wasn't sort of up and running internationally by the time I finished playing, but then I did play some Masters cricket out at the stadium here in Dubai, and loved it. I mean, the facilities out here are on par with anywhere around the world now. The investment that's been made, the conditions, the quality of pitches and outfields and training facilities are all there. So, it's really exciting to see it continue to develop, and to see the UAE team have various strides forward and pick up success along the way. It's a part of the landscape of cricket that we need to keep. We need to keep encouraging all the sort of lesser known cricketing nations to try and hang in there with it, and hopefully it does prosper. Yeah,
Tom Moody's been a friend of our show. He's out here working with the Desert Vipers as one of their coaches. They got Hasaranga, they got a lot of great players, and we're really looking forward to seeing top class cricketers here in Dubai in January. University of Wollongong is the reason you're here. Talk us through about your relationship with the University of Wollongong, because I know you've done the bike ride between Sydney and Wollongong once. Yeah. And I have to admit, I was a student in Wollongong and here in Dubai. And I think I spoke to you about 10 years ago on campus back then as an up-and-coming journo. Yeah. What do you like about it? What is it about Wollongong and the opportunity that it brings many students, given that you're here in Dubai, but you've also just come from India?
Yeah, I've been brand ambassador for 15 years. So I grew up in a family of teachers, parents, siblings, all teachers. So I've been in and around the university sector, or certainly understanding the importance of education for a long time, and was enrolled at the uni but deferred to go and try cricket, and that went better than I could ever have hoped. But I was asked to come back to the uni in this ambassadorial role, and I've loved it, particularly the opportunity, given the university's international focus. I mean, very much never losing sight of its foundations in Wollongong and the Illawarra region. But, we have this campus here. We were the first to set up here in Dubai, first foreign operator in the educational space. So to be here celebrating 30 years, that's something that everyone's really proud of. And then, we're just launched in India to have a campus there. We have just opened a new campus in Hong Kong. We're through Asia there with Malaysia and Singapore. So, you tell me, mate. You've studied at both Australia's and the Dubai campus.
And Hong Kong as well. So I've touched on everything.
You are the perfect role model student that we are hoping to create, in that you're getting your education, but you're also getting amazing cultural life experiences, which makes for a better global community. So, love it. Love being around people who are often far more intelligent than me. I travel with vice-chancellors and professors, and the best thing I can do is sit back and just listen, and I'll learn a lot. But it's a wonderful university, and as I say, our footprint globally, but particularly here, having been pioneers in that educational space, we're really proud of that, and we appreciate the students that choose to come and study with us.
Well, Adam, you've been generous with your time. Thank you very much for joining us on Talk 100.3.
Pleasure, mate.